building my Saturday matrix circuit on a Garmin watch. On a Garmin watch you can set up workouts, including resistance training workouts, so you can plan them ahead. So either in Garmin Connect web or on the app you can basically select the different exercises you want to execute. Then you can also change these exercises, at least the weight and the reps, during the training. Then you could also potentially at the end, for example, have an additional exercise. So what I have tried to do is the fourth workout in the week, the fourth resistance training workout in the week, which is not necessarily a resistance training, but could also be a bodyweight training or a HIIT training. I, in the last couple of weeks, have kind of standardized this to a matrix circuit. So matrix is the manufacturer of the machines that the gym I visit has, and so I have been looking up the different weights in order to track this properly in the app. I also tried using the gym's app in order to have all of these exercises. Now, a few problems in the beginning. Initially, I did not necessarily know, first of all, what these weights actually would be. So I couldn't remember all of these, and I also tried to not have my phone with me during the workouts, which seems to decrease the workout intensity. So in order to therefore avoid my phone usage, I usually just have my watch with me, which also made it quite complicated, at least as of having just the Galaxy Watch before, to track my workouts and to also kind of plan my workouts. So I ran with quite a little bit of standardization, such that I had usually a certain time for executing the different sets I do. I also do only supersets, which means I am starting an exercise, do one set, then I do an opposing muscle group. For example, let's just say I'm rowing, then the next thing would be something where I'm pushing, so chest press for example, then I'm rowing again, then I'm pushing again. So I switch in between these stations, and therefore the rest period is not really there, so I cut basically the gym time down, not the gym down time. So now, designing this matrix circuit on the Garmin Connect interface was quite a challenge, I would say, because I first of all did not know necessarily all of the names for these different exercises. Also, the exercises often have different names in different sets of exercises. So in the Garmin resistance training and strength training selection of exercises, for example, there is nothing I think called pec fly, but there is something like butterfly. So you have this motion, for example, which sometimes is called butterfly, sometimes is called pec fly, sometimes it is called pec butterfly or something like this. So there might be variation to exercises. Also, there could be a chest press, there could be a converging chest press, a diverging chest press, and so on and so forth. So first of all, the selection on Garmin made it quite difficult to find all of the exercises I actually wanted to execute. I also initially searched for machine chest press, for example, which cannot be found at all in Garmin. There also seem to often be sets of exercises, which there are sometimes exercises of kind of the same hierarchy, but then the rest of the hierarchy is kind of completely missing. So, for example, you might have a diverging chest press, but then diverging row or something like this, or converging row, might be totally missing from the exercise selection in Garmin. So nonetheless, I have made the switch to try to use Garmin only, so my Garmin watch only for exercise tracking as well as planning. And the main reason for this is that basically the only thing that was missing from an otherwise already existing tracking system for the rest of my workouts, which include cardiovascular workouts, also HIIT workouts, so also these workouts I could already track with a system like Garmin. And so the only thing that was always kind of this other thing, even though it's also just sport at the end, or physical exercise, was resistance training. So first of all, I then set up basically my weekly training, and I do a weekly standardized training 3 times a week, whole body, which I kind of designed myself over the years, and I only make like slight changes to it in order to also not change the outcome too much. And so this is kind of the first thing I implemented. Previously I used a workout app, a workout tracker called Strong, and before this I just used Excel, a big table where I inserted like the names of different exercises. But then also the question already was, should I use the German names or the English names? And so usually the English names, but then I often did not know the words, so it would have been quite a little bit of time investment already to set up something like this, and then to also track basically all of the different exercises, and how do you then track the sets and the reps and so on and so forth. So it was quite useful that I then for quite some time used this app called Strong, and then I tried to switch over to Garmin, mostly for the reason that I wanted to have my phone out of my workouts again. I had this period in which I also tried tracking on my phone or with my phone during the workouts, but every time I tried this, it was like, okay, this is not working, the workout intensity is decreasing and I should avoid this. How can I avoid this? Well, I could install an app on my Galaxy Watch, on my Active 2, but then if I start Spotify on the Galaxy Watch on my Active 2 in order to try to listen to music, I'm sitting there at the rowing machine in the gym and it starts up for like 1 minute and Spotify then starts up. So the watch is usually already on, but then I click on Spotify and it takes like 30 seconds, 40 seconds, 45 seconds to even open up Spotify, and then I'm still not even playing music. So I decided to minimize in this case, or simplify, and I got rid of listening to music. I only listen to the sound of nothing these days, so I usually have just earplugs in, which then kind of just block the noise and reduce the noise and kind of create an environment that sounds similar from session to session to session, because, well, it is kind of just the sound of the water, not the water, but the blood sometimes you hear in kind of your brain. And also, your own voice is a little bit higher, reverberated, if that makes sense as a sentence. And, well, but I also don't speak that much usually during workouts. So now I've tried this metrics circle. First of all, I looked up basically, so I had basically two things to figure out. The first one was how much of the weight was in there, and the second one, how or what kind of differentiations between the different plates would there be. So what seems to be the case is that there are different configurations of pounds. So these machines, maybe because they stem from the US, maybe also from the UK, but there also seem to be UK and US pounds. I'm not entirely sure about this. I am using kilograms, I'm using the metric system, well, because I am living in Europe. Nonetheless, there are pounds. So as there are pounds, a pound has an increase that seems to make sense of 10 pounds usually. Now, there are also different increments, and there is also the conversion problem. So if you have, let's say, a machine that where the total amount of, let's say, a very strong man is only able to push so much weight, and compared to leg press, for example, leg press might be 188 kilograms, I think, is the maximum weight that is on the leg press from Matrix, from the Versa series. And so here we might have, basically, because you don't want to switch through all of the smaller plates, it seems to make sense to just have bigger steps. So there are basically bigger steps on this machine. But then you also have other, basically, stacks. So the stacks I found are usually either 90 kilograms, and my gym seems to have, if they have a stack, usually the higher kilogram version. There are also kind of cheaper versions, I assume, of the same machines that then have a stack that is only 60 kilograms or something like this, probably to save money. But this seems to not make sense if you have like a normal gym in which normal people go, and not just 60 or 70 or 80-year-olds, which then only can do less weight, presumably. So I saw that there are basically kind of three main different stacks. The first one is the 90 kilogram stack. Then we have a 104 kilogram stack, which is usually from the Versa series. And so in terms of the product build up, they have these machines which have basically built-in weights. And these are mostly cable machines. And these machines, which are kind of the standard machines one might find at the gym, have different stacks, and they depend on what the exercise is. Rotary torso, for example, has a 90 kilogram stack. Then there is also kind of a usual distinction between these different kilograms, not kilograms, but weight plates. And so the usual distinction is either going from, so basically increments of 10 pounds. Now, if you have increments of 10 pounds, they are resulting in then increments of 4.5 kilograms. But due to the conversion and due to the rounding also, sometimes people seem to round up and sometimes people seem to round down. So sometimes you might have then a resulting 51 kilogram, and then sometimes it might be 52 kilograms. And on another machine you might have 50 kilograms. Now, in addition to the stack itself, so think of the stack as maybe the fingers, there is also this lever on top, which allows you to additionally put in 2.4 kilograms, I think. And this is, I think, 2.5 pounds, and up to 5 pounds or something like this. Now, there are also machines which have increments of 5 pounds. So if you have increments of 5 pounds and you additionally have the kind of different rounding things, then you might have 49 kilograms, 50 kilograms, 51 kilograms, and 52 kilograms, which then in terms of remembering what the different steps are, it becomes quite confusing, because sometimes the increase in kilograms is like 11 kilograms, and sometimes it's 6 kilograms, and sometimes it's... So if you have the same step of 10 pounds, I just say, then sometimes you might have, due to the rounding, a 6 kilogram increase, sometimes it might be a 7 kilogram increase, sometimes it then might be a 5 or 4 kilogram increase. And so this got quite confusing, and I just could never remember, because I had to remember, because I did not have my phone with me. I had to remember basically what the weight was, and then I barely ever could remember. So what I did then is, already a year ago, I took pictures of the machine in the gym, and then the stack, the weight plate stack of the gym. And so I found these pictures, and I figured out that there are mostly these different stacks, and so I just entered the 3 sets I currently have. So I usually do 3 sets of the same machine, and then I usually have a superset which is consisting out of basically these 3 sets. I start out with 1, then the next, 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 set finished. I usually try to aim at 10 repetitions. Once I hit the full 10 repetitions of a weight, I then try to increase the weight. Additionally, I'm working with drop sets, meaning I start with the highest weight, which might be this one, then basically I go in the next set onto a lower weight, so basically 1 step down in terms of the weight, so like this, and then another step down. In terms of the series, the Matrix machines seem to be, I think Matrix is quite a known brand in the fitness industry, so to speak. And so, what did I want to say? Well, there are these different series. So first of all, there is the Ultra series, which seems to, I don't know what specifically they target with the Ultra series, but the gym I go to seems to have most machines from the Versa series, and then a couple of additional ones like the prone leg curl, which is the lying leg curl, where you curl up your legs, instead of seated leg curl. They seem to have these additional machines from the Ultra series. Now the Ultra series, in addition to being a little bit different in terms of also how they look, they seem to also have slightly different weight stacks. At least they go sometimes up to 108 kilograms, whereas the other ones go only up to 104 kilograms max. Now, the implementation in terms of the Garmin ecosystem. I now implemented basically the closest match what I could find. So this could sometimes be that instead of the pack fly, so there is the actual machine on the product listing from Matrix is called Rear Fly, for example, and Pack Fly, which is the machine where you can do this, but you also then switch basically where you start, and then you can also do this. Now, I then could only find matches in the Garmin ecosystem which were not the exact matches. So what I did is I added a note, and then I also added the stack, which would be the max weight. So basically, rotary torso has, for example, 90 kilograms. The weight stack of the butterfly is, I think, also 90 kilograms. And I thought about having additionally the increments in there, but it would be a little bit much in terms of the typing. So for now, I have the maximum weight that is on the stack. And so that's the stack weight without the additional lever on top, because I think it makes the most sense to just have it on 0 all the time, because then you can actually read what is on the weight stack. In addition to the complete stack weight, I also added the exercise as it properly is named, or how the machine is named on the Matrix website, and there you can also read how much weight the stack of the specific machine you then can basically mirror. So you see the machine online and you try to remember whether this is the exact machine from the gym, or you just take a picture and then compare these two, whether these match. And so what I did is I added basically these 3 sets, and this is then how it looks like in Garmin. So I have basically all of these different things. Now there is also a big problem, and the big problem is the following. If you then have this workout set up like this with the supersets, and because Garmin does not natively support supersets, I just added all of these as individual exercises. So you can usually have a group of exercises, which could be, for example, 3 sets, and then the 3 sets are of the same station, let's just say. So it is all chest press. You can have it set up like this. The big advantage to having it set up like this is then on the watch you can basically click on, okay, skip this I don't know what it is called, but skip this station or something like this, and which then moves it basically to the end, or basically into a sphere in between. And then after you basically did this and there was somebody who occupied the station, then you can add this again, which was quite useful as I did this for quite some time. So I just was able to, in the gym, basically see, okay, this is occupied, this is occupied, this is occupied, what can I do? I basically skip all of the steps that are occupied and I do the thing that I already can do, and then I just add them later on, and I don't have to track that much afterwards. The big thing I think that prevents me from, not the big thing, but it seems to make sense to have properly tracked data, and the thing that prevents me from doing this is that the tracking itself is kind of implemented in the workout already in ideally a fashion that is as time minimal as possible. So now the idea would be that during the workout, so first of all I have the schedule set up, and now I think it makes the most sense to have basically my maximum reps in there, so this acts both as a PR list, and then once I do the workout I can also see what my PRs are, because the list is kind of also then exported onto the watch, which was how Strong used to do this. So you would have basically the list of your workouts, so this would be your presets, and then every time you entered something that actually was a PR, either in terms of how many reps you did or how much weight you lifted, then it would show this also and then offer you to update basically the template you were running on, which meant that you always were comparing yourself against the best version of yourself, because it only updates if you actually had a few PRs. Now, currently something like this is not possible on Garmin. There are two different things on Garmin though. The first one is the all-time or the records, and the second one is the benchmark exercises. So let's first of all click on the benchmark exercises. So these are exercises which you can use in order to scale weight up and down. You could, for example, say that your barbell deadlift or another exercise, which would be leg press, should always be 70% of your barbell deadlift. And so as you increase your barbell deadlift, the other exercise also goes up. This would make sense for certain muscle groups maybe. The second thing where PRs are recorded is in your personal records. So you have your personal records for your other activities, and then you also have one for strength. And for strength, there are only a limited set of exercises. There is a limited set of exercises, which is the barbell back squat, the barbell bench press, the barbell deadlift, the barbell row, and the barbell overhead press. At least these are the ones I have inserted. Now, I think there are two additional either benchmark or PRs, which are clean and jerk, and also the other thing, which is not clean or not jerk or something like this. Clean and snatch or something like this, but I am not that. I have never done these, and I also haven't tracked these. So now, in terms of implementing this and ideally also tracking during the workout. So here is the ideal scenario. I do a set, and then Garmin says, okay, do you want to correct this? Which Garmin offers if you have just a free workout. But if you now have it set up like this without a rest, so the rest seems to be the distinguishing factor. If you have rest periods, and this can be as short as 5 seconds, so you have the set, the working set, and then you add a rest period, which would be another step. Garmin calls them steps. If you then have a rest period in between, maybe this also works with recovery, which would be a different kind of step, then it shows you this weight adjustment. So you then do an exercise, and then it shows you, first of all, do you want to adjust the reps? So Garmin automatically tracks the reps, at least in exercises where it can actually detect some movement. And the next step would be whether you want to adjust the weight. And so you can either click through these two screens, or you don't and you adjust the weight. Now, this takes quite a little bit of time if you need to adjust both. But if they are both somewhat already accurate, and the weight is also kind of the one from the plan, then you might only have to adjust so much. So ideally, then there would be a situation in which you could do this during the workout. At least on the Saturday workout, I would probably accept maybe doing this like this. But then there is a problem, which is that you can only have, I think, 50 or 100, basically the number of steps, I think, can be either 50 or 100. And so if you exceed this, and I would exceed this with basically a 40-minute workout, which consists out of these supersets, which contains basically these multiple supersets, which contain each 6 sets, with then each 10 reps maximally, usually then a little bit lower, because of course I need to work my way up to the 10 reps, and I only have these increments the machines give me. And so what this results in is that I cannot add as many rest sets as I would like, because A, there is no superset function in Garmin, or B, the limit is just too small for me in order to fully implement this. So I basically cannot track the workouts, or I cannot track basically, or I cannot adjust the weight as well as the reps during the workout, and this is kind of sad. It might be a limitation in terms of the storage size of a workout, that Garmin says, okay, we need to have the ability to have this many workouts stored on the watch and this many maps, and so it might be a storage thing where you don't want too many steps on there. But well, there is one additional thing I would like to mention. Now, the idea behind this metrics circuit is that somebody already thought about this. Somebody thought about, okay, what is the maximum a human can lift probably? So out of all the people that usually visit a gym, how many people will be able to lift this much in terms of the shoulder press, and how many people will max the chest press, and will these people be then not satiated or satisfied with a chest press that already is maxing out? So as kind of a project to try to see where I could be maxing out, I set up this project, this idea of trying to max out all of these metrics machines. So currently I do have a couple of them maxed out, and now I'm already increasing the number of reps I can do. The first would be the rotary torso. It took me maybe a couple of months to max this out. I never before really did rotary torso, mostly because I didn't have access to a gym before. So now the maximum is 90 kilograms, and you rotate left and then right, and this is already now maxed out. So this is kind of now the state of, or the progress in terms of maxing out the metrics machines, which this is intended to do. And I also now, with the system of tracking it on Garmin, wanted to have a system in which then I can also track my maximum sets basically, which I then might enter into eGym, which would give me a bio-age, but I don't know whether this makes sense or is too much work if I enter all of these sets manually, at least if they count towards the bio-age calculation eGym provides. Now, the second thing I already maxed out is the back extension, which has a 104 kilogram stack, and I'm able to do 10 reps here. Now, the maximum set I had was 10, I think 10 and 10, and I did not increase the reps until now. The maximum set of reps I had with the matrix rotary torso was 22, I think, with the maximum weight, and then I can't remember the other two sets, maybe 10 and 10. Then the other machine, or the next machine I already maxed out, is the triceps press down, which I have now been running on the maximum of 104 kilograms, and I have been able to do like the 3 sets of each 10 reps for a couple of times now. The next thing is non-existent because these are all of the machines. What is still missing is chest press, the leg curl, the leg extension, then the rear delt, and I'm not very good at all of these actually. The leg press I currently have at 142 kilograms max, but also only a couple of repetitions, and so this is the progress. So it would be useful, I think, to see how close can I get to maxing out all of these machines, and if I now already maxed out 3 of these machines, maybe I can then in the future max out all of them.